The Last of Us Season 2 will be coming out in April and will be based off the second game. Now, for those who don't know, the second game is very polarizing. Some people liked it, but a lot of people hated it for a very specific reason. But before we go any further, there will be spoilers ahead for Season 2, you have been warned. So in the game, Joel dies very early on in it, and Ellie goes on a revenge spree, seeking to bring justice to those involved in the murder. This made many people upset. To see a character you were with for 20 plus hours just die in the beginning of the second game, well, it's a hard pill to swallow. Now the show will be running into the same problem, but do they have to? Should the show follow the games to the letter, or could they push the death back a little bit? I'm not saying get rid of Joel dying entirely, but maybe not have it in the first episode of Season 2. Would it be the worst thing for the show to diverge a little bit from the games? I know some people would think that is blasphemy, that adaptation should always follow the source material. And I usually argue for that as well. The amount of videos I've made complaining about poor adaptations we have gone from The Witcher, The Wheel of Time, and even House of the Dragon would make you think I'm fully against deviating from the second game. But I'm not. And I think some people would agree with me. In the early years of video game adaptations to film, most of them were very bad. Usually they just shared the names from the game and that was about it. Most famously, the Super Mario Bros. Adaptation, which had nothing to do with the games at all. And this made people upset. They wanted to see stories set around their favorite video game characters in the world similar to the game. This was like this for many years until very recently. People kind of started figuring out how to appease the fans of the game, to make a faithful adaptation. And this works great with the animated Mario Bros. Movie and the Fallout show. But with The Last of Us, well, it didn't really do it for me. I'm not saying I didn't like it or it's bad, but I've seen this story before. For example, the game Fallout has a bunch of choices that players make, which will change the outcome of the story. And there are different vaults, storylines, like the Fallout show never really followed the story of the game to a T. They followed the world and how it works and the different factions, but the story is for the show. The Last of Us show and the game are basically the same. All of these super dramatic scenes we see in the show, I've seen in the games. And some would argue the performances in the games are better. These cinematics in The Last of Us are like high-quality animated movies. This isn't your parents' video games. You can see the emotion on video game characters' faces. The episodes I enjoyed the most in Season 1 are the ones that strayed away from the games. The Frank and Bill episode was my favorite episode. So yeah, I would prefer them to change some things from the games. Which I know people will say, so now it's too much like the games. Before video game adaptations were close enough. I realize what I'm asking. And from the trailers for Season 2, it doesn't look like my wishes will be followed. But I think it just makes sense. Maybe kill him off a little later in the season. I think it would appease some fans. Maybe with killing Joel later on, you won't have Ellie go through an army to get her revenge. Because I know there's been a lot of rumblings about Bella, the actor playing Ellie, if they can bring the physicality needed for playing grown-up Ellie. Because if you look at Bella, they are 5'1" and maybe 100 pounds. Now that works when you're playing the child version, but the grown-up version? I don't know, man. That's going to be a hard sell, but I look forward to seeing how they pull it off. What do you think? Should The Last of Us follow the games less? Leave it down in the comments below, and if you want more Last of Us content, please subscribe and like the video. Check out the Twitter, link in the description below, and as always, have an awesome day.